Hello everyone, this is Tetrafolium, and you're watching not ADV Revival, as I've almost said there. You're actually watching Iron Mugulis Open. This is top 16 winners side, so best of 3 sets, but the loser of the set will not necessarily be out of the tournament. They will be going on to top 12 from the losers side. So not too much pressure, but you definitely want to keep that momentum going. I've got the Smash Bros. Ultimate music. I've got the Legence merch here, so shout out to the agency. I've got the agency shirt too. Without further ado, let's introduce the first matchup. So to the left is Heya Forte, who is a pretty good gamer. I've played them plenty of times on ladder, and I know them from a Team Tour Discord server. They seem to be a pretty cool member of the community, and a good battler as well. And to the right is, as you see on screen, Guest, but their full name is A Welcome Guest, but they're too good at Gen 9 OU. That's what this badge is for, so their name can't really fit on the screen that well. I don't know much about A Welcome Guest, but I do know that I was randomly asked to join a Brazilian team tournament from like an off-site thing. It was really like low scale stuff. Like I don't know, I didn't know anybody in it, but A Welcome Guest was on my team. I believe they were playing Gen 5. So a multi-generational gamer, some might call them, but it's kind of cool. I don't know if they remember if I was on there, but shout outs to us and that team, the Power Up Punchers. We lost a lot. Let's go. Lead Suicune versus Tyranitar. Suicune is oftentimes going to be an offensive lead, but that Surf comes down to Milotic for not very much damage at all, so that might just be... oh, it is a substitute Suicune. It's actually pretty good into Milotic. Usually Milotic is going to Toxic and force a rest from the Suicune, but with the substitute up, obviously you are not threatened by the Milotic at all, and you're just going to get some nice Calm Minds going. Going to take the damage on Fortress to begin with here. I don't know if that's better than just going for another Calm Mind, but I guess you end up about the same spot you would have been. Maybe you would have been able to get another Calm Mind up. Oh my gosh. Heya goes for a Toxic, but the Suicune is faster. I should say Forte, not Heya. My bad. Alright, so Salamence has Hidden Power Flying to break the substitute. Suicune can simply just substitute again in the face of the Jirachi. It looks like a Suicune with an even number of HP, so probably max HP with the 101 HP substitutes. That would make a lot of sense. Surf coming down for a modest 24, or sorry, 42. I can't read. As Charizard will be the answer. This is indicating an HP Ice or a Dragon Claw, but Forte says, I dare you to click it, and goes for Rock Slide in the face of a Hidden Power Grass. Now, Snorlax is here. Hidden Power Flying into Dedge, and Snorlax will pick up the kill. Dedge is oftentimes indicating to me has a move to hit Tyranitar pretty hard, so Earthquake is going to be the option. Nice. I thought maybe Brick Break could have came out there, but can't always expect such things. Double Spinner from Forte, revealing a Claydol here. Not going to be all that helpful for spinning hazards away, as I don't believe A Welcome Guest has a Spiker. They would have went to it by now. Instead, they're going to sack the Celebi, as Magneton will come in to meet the Milotic. Actually, a pretty good matchup for Magneton here. Thunderbolt should take out the Tyranitar. I wonder, do you not want to sack the Jirachi? Or go to Jirachi on the Magneton instead? Maybe the health on Jirachi is more important than keeping your Tyranitar for this Metagross endgame here. It is going to take a Thunder Wave for its troubles, though, as Metagross is poised to attempt to win the game here. Milotic is going to be a little bit difficult to beat in this end game. Can get some mash raises though. Does get it first try. That's what we like to see if we're a welcome guest fan here. Agility to outspeed the Jirachi, supposing you get the kill on Milotic, but you're going to need some luck. Earthquake comes down. Alright, you don't get crit. Actually, I think with a sufficient roll, you can get there. A critical hit, well, that's going to make the roll very easy to get. And Jirachi is here. Will it live a +1 Earthquake? No, it will not. And a welcome guest manages to run away with that one at the end there. I mean, you know, you click mash, sometimes you get the raise, and that's just what it is. But cool teams from both players. I think I personally would probably play Forte's team more likely than I would play a welcome guest team, but that's just a personal preference thing. On to game 2. Alright, Registeel into Tyranitar. Okay, Registeel lead is often indicative of maybe a more defensive squad, but we can't rule anything out. People are coming up with crazy teams nowadays. In fact, Salamence is not that indicative of a defensive squad. This may actually be another mix-off team. And another sort of defensive squad with Milotic for Forte might be V5. I ran out of Mountain Dew Baja Blast, so we're drinking a Diet Pepsi. Not sponsored, but I ought to be. Surf, Seismic Toss. This is going to be not a super duper winning proposition for Registeel, but if Registeel can sneak a boom in on the right turn, that might be good. Depending on what your team is, Milotic can be kind of tough for mixed offense teams to handle sometimes. Especially if you have rock type physical attackers such as Tyranitar, Aerodactyl, and the like. Are we gonna rip a boom? Are we gonna see a switch? Only time will tell. Milotic is technically slightly outpaced by the Seismic Toss. Not that it matters because you do a lot more damage with Surf, but we do see the boom there, and Tyranitar will be the response. Very nice to go Tyranitar on a unrevealed Jirachi there, and to get a flinch on Skarmory. Skarmory's going to be really low here in Metagross Meteor Mash range. So we're going to see Jirachi to switch in. Oh! Quick mash, get raised. I mean, it's just as simple as that sometimes. Metagross is looking very, very dangerous here. And just crits the Jirachi. That is bad. Well, thankfully the Skarmory can get the wish here, but it's going to be forced to roar. Taking 33%. It's actually going to spike first, which I think is actually reasonable. Because you have Protect, you can get some chip healing back on this one. A critical hit would have been funny, but also devastating. Last Mon Claydol here makes sense. It's like a Skarm beatdown type of team where you have a Claydol to spin away all the spikes that Skarmory manages to maintain. Forte clicking a nice second spike there on the switch to Metagross. Can get a third layer if they so choose. Instead gonna roar, which I think is sensible. Save some health on the Skarmory. You might need it to switch into a Meteor Mash from Metagross. Instead actually gonna opt to roar on the Tyranitar. Doesn't want to let it Dragon Dance. That's also quite sensible. And this is not exactly V5, but it's a similar type of team. You're dropping Doug Trio for a Jirachi. Kind of cool. Brick Break coming down on Claydol, as Claydol's going to go for Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball's a cool tech for hitting things like Mischievous. It also hits things like Starmie, if that ever switches in, but alas, not going to be a great matchup for Shadow Ball. Claydol is going to be booming into opposing Claydol there. Tyranitar on Tyranitar. I believe that Forte's is... Okay, it's probably a BKC Tar. I was going to say maybe it could be Viltar, but maybe it doesn't make quite as much sense if you don't have Dugtrio on the squad. Gonna dodge a Rock Slide, roar that Tyranitar out. Now Tyranitar is a Spike Sack. That's good, but Metagross is a goddamn monster. Alright, Tyranitar gone. Salamence is here. Going to presumably just try to take the kill on this Skarmory. And yes, would trade into the Blissey, who's at, in fact, Blissey's too low. It wouldn't even live a Brick Break. So that's just going to be it there. Kind of two similar squads from both players. I would generally think that you would, as the person who has lost game one, switch up to a slightly different style. I think that's what a lot of players do, but, you know, there's also something to be said about just sticking with your guns, you know. Use the team that you think you have the best chance to win with, not necessarily what you think is going to match up the best into your opponent. You know what I mean? I'm going to give some respect to Forte for just toughing it out there. Hope to see you in the next round doing well. Let's switch up the music here. I love the trumpets in this song in particular. Shoutouts to King K. Rool. Finally made it into Smash Bros. I know this is like old news. When did Smash Ultimate come out? 2019? 7 years ago almost? Holy. It's kind of crazy. Well, to our left is Regirock Enjoyer. I know that's not what it says on there, but I'm going to call him Fredazi, who is an SPL gamer, one of the best, if not the best, ADVer in the format right now. You can have a little bit of a debate about that in the comments if you would so like. Versus Halbert Simpson, who is not somebody that I know a ton about, but I do know that they're commonly hanging around in the ADV Revival Tournament Discord, so not a stranger necessarily. Let's see what we've got cooking. I'm imagining that Verdazi brings like slop or something, because he's the godfather of slop. Tyranitar versus Tyranitar, and both switching to Swampert, so probably not slop from Verdazi. Okay. They've so far just been copying each other's moves here. It seems like Skarmory from Verdazi's side might be a little bit faster. Yep, or he just won a ton of the speed ties there. Kind of crazy. Halbert trying to catch a Toxic onto a switch in there, but doesn't manage to find it. Verdazi has a Peck Toxic Skarmory, which is really nice into this Blissey here. Gonna force a switch to Skarmory as Verdazi will go to Tyranitar. Miss a Rock Slide, probably gonna see a Roar. Yep. As Zapdos is in, so maybe Classico from Verdazi, and I'm gonna guess Big 5 from Halbert. It's not guaranteed that it's Classico for Dazi. We're gonna see a Roar there. Okay, Roar is not that typical on Classico, so it might actually be Big 5 then. It's actually Big 5 Moltres, which is a Pokemon that many would say is not very good on Big 5, and it's in fact not even a Big 5 team from for Dazi either. So just goes to show what Tetrafolium knows about the tier. What could still be a big 5 from Halbert, of course. Last Mon, Gengar does make some sense. Gonna roar in Swampert here, who is going to surf into the Skarmory. Aerodactyl last for Ferdazi. Rock Slide is going to do a chunk to whatever Pokemon is in here. Swampert takes it the best, but having to take all that spikes damage, you're going to want Swampert for the Tyranitar and the Metagross later into this. Toxic coming down, but not landing, and not going to get onto Halbert's Skarmory either. Halbert going to take the Drill Peck damage, accepting that he has the slower Roar, and it will not work out for him. Ferdazi is kind of just sitting in the driver's seat here. Gengar is coming in on a Roar. Very nice click from Ferdazi. As this is a Lumberry car, maybe? Well, Roar is just going to devastate the rest of his squad. What do you all think? Moltres, is that a Pokemon that will fit on Big 5 in the Big 2026? I'm going to say, personally, no. But you're free to sound off in the comments if you would so choose. I actually like Moltres more as a partner for Fortress, if I use it at all. So if you catch me on ladder or wherever with a Fortress on the team, maybe expect a Moltres in the back. Thunderbolt coming down, finally finishing off that Skarmory. Maybe 32 turns too late, though. Not to say that Halbert has been playing this incorrectly or anything. Mixed meta. Really nice Psychic into the Gengar, and then HP Fire to chunk into the Skarmory, putting it possibly into Rock Slide range. And yes, Rock Slide is going to pick up the kill there. As for Dazi, you can pretty easily just trade here. You have the slower Tyranitar, but you'll live in Earthquake. And yep, going to be last Mon Blissey versus the World here. I've seen Blissey do some crazy things. I don't think we will see Blissey manage this one. We're going to see a Seismic Toss to take the Tyranitar out, and Aerodactyl should just clean this up with a simple Double Edge. Yes. All right. Well done to Ferdazi. Halbert, we'll see if you can bring it back. All right, as cool as Gangplank Galleon is, we're going to actually switch up here. Let's go with... what do I want? Let's do some Foresight here. Why not? Some Earthbound Nostalgia. Great game. Came out well before I was born, but I did manage to get to play it on the Wii U Virtual Console. Shoutouts to that. Tyranitar lead from Ferdazi, as we're going to see Ethan, the Suicune, leading. Zapdos is going to be the switch in for the Suicune. Ferdazi probably playing another Spikes kind of mix-off type of team. Ferdazi guessing Magdoll. Kind of call out there. If it was Magdoll, we would see a Magneton switch almost certainly here. But it's actually going to be a Surf defensive Swampert and a Snorlax in the back. So, I mean, granted, 3 Pokemon that you might see on Magdoll are these 3. I mean, I don't know if you see Swampert that commonly. I think usually you would want something with a little bit of different utility, but certainly could be some kind of like fat offense from Halbert. Surf coming down, gonna chunk into that Zapdos. Zapdos can only switch into 2 more, or sorry, really only 1 more. It's actually a double Blob team from Halbert. Okay, Blissey, kind of a unexpected, at least from my perspective, but nice to have for the Zapdos for sure. Gonna go for Seismic Toss into this perk here. Gonna chip that down. It's quite nice. Oh, okay, so we're gonna stay in and Wish. Not bad. Blissey can opt to stay in and go for another Seismic Toss if it wanted to, but it's actually gonna pass the Wish to Snorlax. Ferdazi's gonna call that out, going to Skarmory. Goes for Drill Peck, trying to catch a Focus Punch, but no Focus Punch was clicked, and we're going to see a switch to Swampert. Ferdazi could probably try to get some more spikes going here. I imagine that Halbert has a spinner. Metagross. All right, last Pokemon better be a spinner with this squad. But you did kill the Skarmory off, so that's actually quite nice. Thunderbolt coming down, not going to kill the Blissey, even with a critical hit. Doesn't seem like it would get there, as Blissey's going to soft-boil. The Tyranitar is going to come in from Ferdazi's side. And Crunch. Trying to catch a Swampert switching in, I imagine, but Halbert is wise and clicking Wish there. Gonna go for Seismic Toss to try to stop a Focus Punch if Ferdazi has such a move. And Thunder coming down gets the paralysis. Very lucky. Lucky and bad, they say. I don't think that's actually really all that lucky at all. You're like, okay, well, Dynamic Punch is pretty lucky. Gets the confusion on Metagross. Remember, Jirachi has a 200% chance to confuse if it hits. And apparently also a really good chance to burn, so whatever I was saying about lucky and bad before, that's still on the table. Alright, last spawn is Moltres, which I don't know if I've ever seen this team before. Critical hit double edge, you don't like to see that. Ferdazi's team looks a little bit more like familiar in a sense for like a mix-off type of team, but Halbert's is, I feel like you are begging for Skarmory to eat through your team, but I guess he did a pretty good job of eliminating the Skarm early, limiting to one spike. I think this is pretty manageable with one spike. Brick Break coming down in exchange for a Thunder Wave, so that's really, really good for Halbert. Gonna pop another Wish. And Lax is the recipient once again. Don't you just love double Blob teams where you got these two special walls that are going to town versus all the special attackers? Going to Curse up. Crunch coming down. It's not looking great for Ferdazi here. The Snorlax might just run away with the game. Gets a Spadef drop. That's what we like to see if we're rooting for Ferdazi here. And we're going to see a switch to Blissey, so not going to risk anything from Halbert's side. I guess Halbert kind of thinks that he can get through this team as so long as he keeps his Snorlax healthy enough. And I think that that is probably true. But this Tyranitar is going to make things a little bit difficult. A crit Brick Break could be devastating on either of the Blobs. Probably going to want to see a switch to one of your waters here. Or just keep fishing for a full paralysis. That's also fine. Swampert is going to allow a Wish to go up. And we're probably going to see a switch to Lax and Ferdazi switch to something to catch the Lax. Roar would be great as well, though. Gonna go for Surf. Crit wouldn't have even killed. Back to Blissey. On a Surf. Albert's playing this one really, really safe. Gonna get a Wish to Swampert, even. That's pretty nice, actually. Swampert is your best line of defense versus the Aerodactyl. And you want to make sure that you can switch into Aerodactyl Double Edge well if you are Halbert with your Swampert. So still a pretty methodical game, very safe. I respect it. Lesser gamers would get hasty and lose, but Halbert is playing this one pretty disciplined. Great turn to go for a curse there, I think. We're going to find Jirachi coming in. Goes for Thunder, trying to get the paralysis. Similarly, get a Body Slam, try to get the paralysis. Ferdazi is in a bit of trouble if he can't find something to slow down the Snorlax, though. But Halbert is just clicking Body Slam into Tyranitar, which suggests to me that he does not have a move that can hit Tyranitar super effective. I guess that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, Shadow Ball, there you go. Considering that you don't have something that can really deal with a Gengar all that well on Halbert's team, so being mono-walled by Gengar is probably not something you can afford to do. Usually with that type of Snorlax, you would see a Magneton, but no such Magneton exists on Halbert's team. Gonna go for a rest here. Ferdazi has outs if he gets a critical hit. We're actually gonna switch Swampert in as Ferdazi's gonna go to Zapdos. Probably trying to stop such a switch as Swampert or Suicune. Halbert gonna switch back to Blissey. Take a Thunderbolt for a solid 15%, which will be undone very shortly. In fact, we're going to get a Seismic Toss first. And Aerodactyl is in. Aerodactyl is threatening to KO the Blissey. Oh my gosh. Blissey actually lives that. That's a fat Blissey. Gets a Thunder Wave off, which is probably, yeah, the end of Aerodactyl there. Now Jirachi is going to have to get a lot of value here. Does not kill the Swampert with Hidden Power Grass. Will take a Earthquake for its trouble. And this looks like it's going to wrap up here in the next few turns. Suicune is very dangerous into these last two. Substitute. Oh man. This is the second Substitute Suicune that's just destroying the matchup here. Ferdazi is going to forfeit, save us a few turns of grief here, but, I mean, it was very clear that Halbert was going to win from there. Halbert, you've got Ferdazi on the ropes. Let's see you finish it out, my man. And we'll switch up the music, of course. I'm not doing a great job of switching up the music in between. Let's just do this one. Why not? A little bit of Banjo-Kazooie action. Swampert lead into a Suicune lead. So Suicune's gonna click a substitute there as Zapdos is going for Light Screen. Fortress. Okay, this is not something I would have expected from Ferdazi. I feel like Blissey would be the Pokemon you would see. But I know Ferdazi is a Blissey hater, so I doubt he has it, actually. We saw it switch to Dugtrio, trying to catch something, switching in for that Zapdos, but instead catches a Thunderbolt, which is equivalently fine. Gonna just slightly change the volume on that music there. Sorry if things sounded weird there. Celebi is here. And we're going to see a Registeel. With 3 layers of spikes up, this is not looking fantastic for Halbert. He better have a spinner this time with this squad. You have so many grounded Pokemon, you kind of need it. But I don't know. Just Seismic Tossing away as you're Leech Seeded, so most of these Pokemon are switching in for not very much cost to themselves. Curse Swampert. Huh. Toxic coming down. as Halbert's Swampert will be a Salic Pert. Endeavor coming down onto the fortress doesn't really do much, but Surf is going to finish it off. Aerodactyl in, will outspeed and get the double edge. Here comes Salamence, who should be able to take a double edge decently well. We're actually going to see a double from Halbert. And a boom. Quite nice. Last Mon Raikou. Okay, so Halbert is just does not respect spikes in the slightest. This is a team that is like really, really strangely weak to Fortress. DD Tar is gonna go to work here. You got a second DD, and it might just be over right now. Go Salamence. Okay, I won right there. I mean, I didn't. Like, I think you you would need to get a lot of turns right to stabilize this position. We're gonna see a Dugtrio switch. Dead. Suicune's in. I probably would have went back to the Salamence. Salamence should live a neutral Rock Slide if you have enough HP investment. Perhaps you don't. But Suicune, I guess, is forcing out that Tyranitar all the same. Ends up being better for Ferdazi. Is able to Leech Seed back into living a Surf range. And a Dragon Dance Rock Slide, a crit. Crit might have mattered. Probably didn't matter in the long run because of the Leech Seed. But Ferdazi can simply just trade into this Salamence, who actually does not quite have the juice to live that. That's unfortunate. It's definitely worth looking into your HP investment on your DD Menses to make sure that you can live such things as Rock Slide from Tyranitar. I know it's kind of difficult against the Adamant Tars to find enough investment to do such a thing, but something to note at least. Not, well, let's see, Zapdos. I don't know if you would kill Zapdos from full with Salamence, but like supposing that you did live there and you have Rock Slide, you were one Rock Slide flinch away or a crit on Zapdos from potentially winning the game. So it actually was decently close, all things considered. But in any case, well done to Halbert. I think that was a lot closer than most people would play for Dazi, so good job there. Some strange teams, so maybe a little bit over-teched into the slop matchup, which is kind of funny, but I don't hate it. There we go. It's a new piece of music. I should have picked out a better soundtrack beforehand. But we're going to get Ridley's theme as we see somebody with a sick Giratina custom avatar. Very cool. This is Tonka Man versus Lakoot. Lakoot is a member of Zetscord. Made it all the way to winner's side top 16. That's actually pretty impressive. So shout outs to Lakoot. I know that's my Jirachi loving buddy there, so gonna have to root for Lakoot in this one. Lead Mence versus lead Skarm. Skarm usually fine to get in the usually you would want to spike there, but I guess if you have a strong switch into whatever they have, maybe you go for it. CM from Tonka's Blissey as Lakoot's going to go for a Thunder Wave. Gets crit by an Ice Beam. Probably doesn't matter that much, but Tonka Man switching it up for a Thunderbolt into the Metagross switch. Metagross does not reveal an item, and with that damage, it's most likely Choice Band. Raise? No. Switch to Skarmory, yes. As Tonkaman is also going to switch to Skarmory with a Thief. Lakoot's just going to take the Spike. I wonder if Tonkaman is playing like a unemployed structure. With like a second natural cure Pokemon. The ability name was escaping me there. You see a switch to Dugtrio on a Protect. Actually, well done by Lakoot to find that. You can eliminate the Metagross. You open up the opportunity for your banded Metagross to find some really strong hits here. We're going to see last mon Claydol for Lakoot. So, kind of, a balanced team. Interesting kind of build there. It's like similar to V5, but... I mean, basically it is V5, but you're leading Skarmory. Kind of cool. And we do see a Starmie here, which is a very logical sort of piece to see from Tonkaman's team. Going to trade some damage into the opposing Skarmory, who does not have its leftovers. Keep that in mind. As we're going to see oh my gosh, Lakoot gets another nice switch to Dugtrio. Unfortunately, Dugtrio is dead to the Starmie, but fortunately, the Starmie is dead to Toxic. So spikes are going to remain down on Tonkaman's side of the field, but this Mence is looking a little bit dangerous. Gonna just Fire Blast away. Doesn't want to give up any more spikes, which definitely makes sense. And we're gonna see a switch to Metagross there. Maybe a little bit risky. We're just switching around maybe a little bit too much from Lakoot. I probably would have stayed in with the Suicune. Because, yeah, now Blissey's dead. You're gonna go to Claydol here. Spin these spikes away. I don't know if it was worth it for all the damage you took there, though. Going to find a Metagross switch in here. And just booms the Skarmory. It's really difficult to say if that was correct, though. You might have wanted that for these other Pokemon here. You could maybe find... like, if you get the Metagross in on Blissey, you were getting another kill, for example. I think things kind of spiraled out when the Suicune switched out of the Salamence there. Rock Slide coming down. Gonna put this Suicune very low. It's gonna be in HP Grass range here. Probably also just Dragon Claw range. And it is HP Grass, in fact. Claydol, I mean, there's not really much you could do. Spin, alright, nice. Punishes that Blissey switch well enough because, you don't want to boom prematurely. You can't really afford to boom, in fact, at all. Goes for Earthquake. Does not get quite enough damage there. It was a roll to get the 2-hit KO from previous. Blissey's going to get the kill on the Claydol, and that's going to be it. This Suicune forced to rest, and Blissey's just going to T-Bolt down. Yeah. If you kill the Blissey, you're just dead to Salamence. That's why Suicune's forced to rest there. Sleep Talk. Alright, doesn't matter. But maybe could have ended up getting there in the end. This is kind of an interesting team. It's like it really is just like V5, but a little bit more offensively leaning because of the Crocune. I should try that out one time. Why not? But disciplined play from Tonkaman. Well done. Set's not over though. We'll keep rolling with the Ridley theme. Why not? Let's get into it. Zapdos versus Zapdos. All right, this is one of the nastiest lead matchups in ADV. Both Zapdos kind of just have to like trade into each other a little bit, and then there's stuff like this where status gets involved and it's just nasty. Lakutz is most likely a Spadef rest Zapdos. We're gonna see a Breloom switch in for Tonka Man. Gonna go for a Focus Punch Raw on that Blissey to finish off the Zapdos there. Not nice. But we do find a Breloom revenge kill. And a Pursuit on the Dugtrio, who lives it decently well. So we can go into Surf into the Starmie. Double to Pert on the Blissey. Very nice if this is an offensive Pert, which I imagine it is. It's actually an N Pert. Gonna sub down on the Blissey here. You have to be careful about subbing too much with the Swampert. If you sub down to like 1, well, there's nuance to be had. Let's just say that. It can go a lot of different ways. But generally, it's not that favorable for Swampert to sub down like that in front of the Blissey. Spadef drop into a crit Brick Break is going to be kind of nasty on the Blissey. Blissey can try to switch here. But if a Pursuit came down, that would have been the end of Blissey's life. Think about that. Lakoop does manage to escape, though, into the Suicune, who's going to go for a Calm Mind. Could Calm Mind again? No, it's actually just going to Surf into the Starmie, as Starmie gets a lucky 10% para on the Suicune. Lakoop going for another Calm Mind here. Definitely needs the rest next turn. Okay, Tonka Man's just going to opt for a Recover. Probably going to see a switch to Zapdos. In fact, actually a switch to Swampert. Ooh, could have been scary, though, if that was Crocoon. It doesn't seem like it is, though. Probably see a Roar from... I was going to say we probably want to see a Roar from Suicune, but we're going to see a switch to Blissey. Blissey's dead. You're losing another Pokemon from Lakoot's side here. Well, I guess Skarmory isn't necessarily lost because it roars, but like taking that much damage on Skarmory is not fantastic, especially when there's no spike down. Claydol last for Lakoot. Another sort of like V5 structure with Zapdos as the lead. Bit of an evil Zap, which is Thunderbolt, Rest, Substitute, and Toxic. Mostly designed for PP stalling Blissey. Hydro Pump coming down. Rest in peace to Claydol. Suicune's back in, but I mean, I don't see how you win here. CM. Gonna see another T-Bolt. As Lakoot is probably gonna have to rest. Well, you know, you could sneak in another Calm Mind. That's actually perfectly fine, but you're gonna be forced to rest here, and then Pert is just gonna clean up. Go hard, Doug, right now. Do it. Do it for the fans. Man. I mean, the issue is, like, then you'll... If you do that, if you make that play, then you just lose to Zapdos. So, like, kind of doesn't really matter. You can go Doug here, but it's just prolonging the inevitable. Doug is dead. Suicune will be in. Swampert can just click Endeavor. Suicune wakes up. Can click Rest if it wants. Actually goes for a Roar and will die to Sand. Alright. I mean, even if you go for a Roar there, like one more Endeavor, it's just going to end the game. Or sorry, if you went for Rest there. So, Unfortunate from Lacoute. I actually think that Lacoute had a decent chance to win game one. But this second game here was a very, very difficult matchup. But credit to Lacoute. You're still in it. Have a chance to continue in top 12. So good luck to you. And Tonka Man, we will also see you in next round. Now I have to decide what I'm listening to next. Why not? This is a great track from Mario and Luigi, Bowser's Inside Story. And this is a great matchup here. To the left, Zinc, who I believe is an SPL, has this awesome custom avatar here, which is earned by completing all of the ADV ladder achievements. It's not easy to do. You have to top ladder. You have to achieve an 86% GXE. You have to win 25 games in a row. And that's just to name a few of the challenges there. So keep in mind that this player has done those things. But to the right is my goat, Spreek, who was a captain of one of my team tournaments. So I have a lot of respect for Spreek. A very good builder, but enough glazing. Let's get into the battle. Lead Starmie. Okay, is this Mystic Water Starmie going to click Hydro Pump? No, actually, it's going to be a Thunder Wave. Spreek kind of gets away with doing crazy stuff with Starmie because he's well known for that Mystic Water lead. Gonna get a Leech Seed off into the Skarmory, switching back in. Swords Dance. Kind of forced to stay in and roar if you're Zinc here. But you have to be careful in a sense because you could always roar in a Magneton, which would be nasty. But Starmie is here to spin that Spike away. Now switch to Tyranitar, catching the Celebi. I'm going to go for an immediate Baton Pass to Metagross to take the HP Bug. It's actually not that strong, an HP Bug. That might be a defensive Metagross. It is! It's a mixed Metagross with Thunder Punch. Youch. You don't see that very often, but it's a cool Metagross set. You have Thunder Punch to hit Skarmory and Hidden Power Grass to hit Swampert. Of course, you're still running Meteor Mash and most likely Boom. I've tried this set before with Brick Break over Meteor Mash. I don't think I would recommend it, but it's kind of funny. A Leech Seed finding the Aerodactyl switch. Gonna get some chip there. That could be big. Aerodactyl, I mean, it does die to one hit from a lot of things, but it has just enough bulk to live some things. And going down to 76 like that is not ideal. Nor is that critical hit into the Zapdos. But Spreek is just gonna click another Meteor Mash. Does not want to let these rock types back in. Ends up taking a little bit of extra damage on the Metagross for doing such a thing. But not punished, really, because you have just enough health to survive that Earthquake. Arrow switching into Hidden Power Bug and going for a substitute in the face of a Skarmory switch. Skarmory's going to protect. Arrow's going to taunt. Oh, that's not good. Aerodactyl is stopping the phasing from occurring. But Zinc is going to go for a Drill Peck. And switch to Swampert. So Swampert is actually pretty nice into a sub Aerodactyl. Especially one with Taunt, because you're oftentimes getting rid of one of your best moves to hit Swampert in Double Edge to afford to do so. So Zinc is going to reveal Lastmon Gengar here. This is El Clasico, but with a Skarm lead. Full paralysis from the Gengar. We hate to see that. Celebi is going to Leech Seed and Gengar's going to stay paralyzed. I mean, it's really hard to, if you think about it from like a real life perspective, like be paralyzed and then like move, you know? Kind of a dark thing to think about. Let's table that for a later discussion. Here comes Snorlax from Spreak, finding the Swampert switch. The Swampert on El Clasico is very commonly surf defensive, meaning that it won't have a move to hit Snorlax all that well. Usually it's relying on Toxic to break through walls, but obviously Snorlax has immunity, so you can't really do that versus such a thing. Gengar's still here to protect that spike against the Starmie. Gonna go for Thunderbolt as Celebi finds a switch. Does Gengar have Ice Punch? Doesn't look like it. Gonna go for Wisp. I think it's probably Giga Drain on the Gengar here. That would make the most sense to me. Unless it already revealed the move and I'm stupid. No. Classico definitely wants to deal with the Swampert so that Aerodactyl can win in the endgame. We're going to see last mod Blissey. It's going to be a double Blob team. Rock Slide coming down for 38%. Reek going to Thunder Wave the Tyranitar. Get rid of its chances to flinch hacks here. Goes for Focus Punch. Gets full parried on a switch to Starmie. Maybe it wasn't that consequential, all things considered. Starmie finding that spin, takes a Toxic in return, which is ultimately going to be 6% damage. Starmie can switch out here into Snorlax. Immunity. Sometimes you get away with not running immunity on Snorlax, so you can run Thick Fat instead, but a lot of times like you will miss the immunity. Double Edge coming down, so this is probably a max attack Snorlax. This should do a lot to Skarmory. 31%. Wow. Roar finds Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl can kill the Skarmory from this range, but we're going to see a Swampert switch. Substitute. Toxic. This is probably a pressure Aerodactyl, considering that it has leftovers. So maybe Spreak is trying to eliminate some PP from the Swampert. I probably missed that before, that it was leftovers. That's a really key thing, because Aerodactyl very commonly does not run leftovers. Blissey's just going to heal here, and this is looking like Spreak has the game pretty well in control here. Toxic is just not landing at all. Again, not that it really matters that much, because all of these natural cure Pokemon are just blanking everything. A Curse from Snorlax. Are we going to see a Shadow Ball? We're actually going to see a Fast Wisp go down first. But Shadow Ball is going to put Gengar in range of Sand, which is pretty nice. Skarmory is here. It's probably living pretty much any move that Snorlax can go for. Except for Boom, maybe. But I'm sorry, guys. It's really late for me as I'm recording this. So if I'm yawning, that's probably has something to do with it. Not enough caffeine in my Diet Pepsi. Yeah, but Spreak is looking to just trade down with the Skarmory here. Zinc is getting a spike. Okay, not bad. Spin. Peck. I would probably just take the kill as Spreak here. I'm gonna go for a Thunder Wave, though. I think Spreak is trying to find a line where Starmie can get the kill and be at full health, and stop a spike from being on his side of the field. It's asking for a lot, but you know, Spreek has been a good boy this year, so Santa will probably come through for him. Spike going up. Spin probably this turn. Drill Peck. I think Starmie's probably clicking recover here. Yep. Spike and gonna be a spin. Yep. Full para on that turn. So Surf can come down here. We're actually gonna see a protect on turn 69. Very nice. This Surf should not kill. But there is a full para. Alright, so Starmie is going to greed its way into a situation where it quite easily gets the kill there. Surf going to come down on Tyranitar. Tyranitar does not survive. Aerodactyl's here. Starmie could go for a Surf here as well. Doesn't get flinched. Lives with over half. And yeah, that's it. And nice 6-0 from Spreek. Big ups. Kind of a tough matchup with a very unconventional team from Spreek. It's kind of like Unemployed 6, but usually you see Salamence in the Aerodactyl slot, and who do you see in the Neuralax slot? It's slipping me. Somebody will comment it, I'm sure. Next game. Although I should probably switch up the music here. Sure, let's go with this one. Yeah, we'll start it over from the beginning. The Lake Spirit themes. I think this is my favorite legendary theme in all of Pokemon. We're going to see Mence versus Tar. BKC tells us we should switch both sides. Wow, okay. Magneton switch from Zinc. Trying to catch a Skarmory from Spreek here, but manages to get a Jirachi for a Thunderwave click there, which is actually really nice. Substitute Rachi, though. Usually Substitute Rachi is trying to avoid getting paralyzed, but it's going to be just as well into Blissey, although losing turns is not good. Also being slower than Blissey is not good. Thunder is not going to help you out there, unfortunately. As a Seismic Toss is coming down into the Fortress. Magneton will switch in. It should get the kill on the Fortress here. Yep. And now things are looking bad for Spreek. I mean, it's still early. Definitely plenty of game to be played. But, I mean, Zinc has done a great job of getting into a extremely playable position. This is probably a banded Mence, which suggests to me that this might be Magdoll. So last two mons might be Suicune and well, okay, Claydol. That crit Fire Blast coming down on the Skarmory. Skarmory might have been able to live that. I'm not sure. Crit probably didn't matter. Charizard's really strong. Umbreon. Okay. In that case, last mon probably Snorlax. I'm gonna guess. I got an itchy nose. Shouldn't say that. I'm bringing attention to myself here. Toxic on the Pert. As a Wish is passed to the Mence. That's actually pretty good. Brick Break. Crit. Does a lot of damage. Refresh, though, is stabilizing for the Swampert. Protect. Gets a little bit of more HP back. We could see a switch to Charizard here. Instead, we'll see this Swampert stay in and go for a Surf. And a Protect. It would be nice to get a Toxic on this Mence to really just like chip it down, really limit its turns, but The problem is Umbreon is threatening to pass that Toxic back onto your Pert. That might actually not be the worst thing in the world, though, since you have Refresh. But it's not the best thing in the world either. Umbreon is going to survive that Brick Break to get a Toxic onto the Tyranitar. Rock Slide coming down, does not get the flinch. Umbreon forced to protect here. But that's fine. We'll see a switch to Pert. I probably would click Toxic as the Pert. Actually going to get a Roar onto Salamence. I guess the issue is that this Blissey on Zinc's team probably has Heal Bell or Aromatherapy. So maybe it's not staying or stabilizing the position, even if you do manage to Toxic the Umbreon. Thunder coming down, though. That could paralyze it. Pursuit for a solid 11%. Yeah, this is kind of just Zinc is waiting for a turn to reveal this last, which is probably the win condition for the team. I'm still guessing Snorlax. Thunder doesn't get the paralysis. Spreaky's getting pretty unlucky with these Thunders not getting the paralysis. At least he's hitting them, though. Blissey's here, going to outspeed the Jirachi. Get a Soft Boiled. Force some damage on Tyranitar via the Toxic. And the last one, Pert. Okay, so this is actually probably Curse Pert then. Right? Hidden Power Grass. Gonna die to an Earthquake, though. Aerodactyl last for Spreak. That's going to kill Swampert. Ooh. Can Zinc win this one? Wish. Alright. So, Umbreon might be able to stabilize the position a bit for Zinc's side of the field. Oh my gosh, gets a freeze. It's not good. Well, at least Blissey's got Natural Cure, but you want Blissey to stay in here, usually. Zinc going to switch to Umbreon as Spreak goes for a substitute. Going to be able to get some Calm Minds here, but this Blissey's very likely to break through the Jirachi regardless. One Seismic Toss, full para. Another Seismic Toss to break the sub. Thunder finally gets a paralysis. Not the worst case scenario for the Blissey, though. This one's going to be a little bit of a grind it out kind of game here. Spreak is not very much incentivized to switch this Jirachi anytime soon. You'll probably just be taking some pot shots at the Blissey, setting up for Aerodactyl to come back in. Instead, Spreak's actually going to switch out now into the Pert. If this is a... well, okay, this Pert is not making any progress whatsoever. Surf is okay, I guess, into the Blissey, but Blissey's just going to go for Soft Boiled. Surf. Aromatherapy, as predicted by Tetrafolium. This guy knows a lot of ball, this Tetrafolium guy. It's almost like he's good at the game or something. That's a joke, by the way. I'm not good at the game at all. Roar into Umbreon. Oh my gosh. This is going to be a little bit of a slog here, as Pert's just going to try to get as much value out of this one spike that's down as it can. I feel like Arrow should still kind of just sweep up this endgame here, though, right? We're going to see Immense in here. Protect. Locks into Hidden Power Flying, which is, I mean, pretty reasonable. Your best Hidden Power Flying switch in Jirachi is very low. But Spreak is going to go to Aerodactyl anyway. Umbreon is the switch in. Goodbye, Umbreon. As Blissey is going to be in. Now we're going to see a switch probably back to Pert. T-Wave is completely ineffective into Pert. Spreak is going to try to position it such that this Salamence is going to be killed by the Aerodactyl. Probably switch to Charizard, right? We're going to take a Protect first to get some chip healing. Switch to Jirachi. I think that's also about reasonable. My sort of thought process is I don't know if Charizard's really going to do much else in this game. Whereas Jirachi could at least get a para on the Blissey. I mean, force it to click Aromatherapy. If this Swampert had Toxic, it would be over pretty much from here. But Blissey's going to just kind of out-fat here. Maybe Blissey actually wins against these three. Zink is trying to get a Thunder Wave onto a switch into either Charizard or Aerodactyl, which would severely cripple either of those Pokemon. Surf crit. All right, we're probably seeing a Soft Build and another Surf. Yeah. I think I'm going to put this one on fast because we're probably not going to see much progress for a little while. There's definitely a win condition for Spreak to just run this Blissey out of Soft Boiled. I don't know if Swampert is going to be able to stick around long enough for such a thing to happen. Only 12 more Seismic Tosses, though. If this Aerodactyl has pressure, which it probably doesn't, but I mean, it definitely doesn't because Double Edge did not do recoil damage. Beat Up coming down for all of 30-ish%. All right. Flinch. No. And Thunder Wave is down. So Spreak has to crit. He's going to actually opt to switch out as Blissey will be clicking Soft Boiled. So Spreak is going to be going for a Double Edge crit to try to win this game on the back end. Only 7 more Seismic Tosses, but that's plenty enough, I think, to just win the game. We're going to Surf there. Go for Protect. You might want to sneak a Double Protect in at some point as Spreak. Doesn't go for it there, though. Soft Boiled. Surf, very nice, saving the Protect. And then goes to Aerodactyl, though. Ooh, I don't know about that exactly. Oh, and tries to save the Protect. Oh, it doesn't have any more Protects. Oh my gosh. Wow, Swamperts ran out of Protects before Blissey ran out of the Seismic Tosses. That's crazy. A better commentator would have realized that, I think. But that is what it is. Alright, whatever. We're going to go last little piece of the puzzle here. Back that up. This is Dialga and Palkia's theme from Diamond and Pearl. And this is Game 3. Last set. Last game. Get hype. I should have gotten more caffeine for this. Alright, lead Suicune versus Suicune. Both are going to calm Mind. Spreak seems to be faster. Hidden Power Brian coming out into a Roar. That's not great. So obviously Hidden Power Brian referring to Grass or Electric in the case of Suicune there. Oh my gosh, Armaldo That's really good into Snorlax. Gets a knockoff on the Magneton. No more Magnet. Means if there's a Skarmory on Zink's side, which it seems like it's pretty likely to be the case, we'll be able to live a Thunderbolt. Seismic Toss coming down on Snorlax. Are we going to see a switch to Skarm? No, just Armaldo. And Tyranitar for Spreak. Okay, so not quite blue offense. Gonna get a really nasty, oh my lord, DD into crit Earthquake. So we can better get through this. Alright, does manage to land the Surf. Spreak is going for the Akira moment here, trying to flinch that Suicune. Does not get it. Shout out to that meme, that's a good one. Those of you who know. Knowers will know, as Ferdazi would say. Hidden Power Brian coming down on the Blissey as we reveal last mon Swampert for Spreak. Toxic. I don't blame Spreak for not wanting to do the Toxic list pert. It's actually an end pert though, which is really good here. Endeavor would put this Blissey out of a job. And we're going to see a switch to Suicune for that reason. Endeavor did 1%. But Hydro Pump should kill. Mence will be the response to End Pert here. But Endeavor should leave it low. In fact, Spreak is going to allow the Swampert to stay alive. Which is pretty reasonable, I think. It could be good into the Armaldo and the Blissey later in the game. It's going to come back in immediately. Zink says, nice try in the chat, which is funny. What is it? Protect? It's probably a Wish Mence. Maybe with Protect Brick Break. But DD Mence is going to go dummy for Spreak here. A Psychic coming down. If Spreak says nice try, I will laugh. No, it does not. Because I feel like Boom was probably what was needed there to stop this Salamence from going really stupid versus Zink's team. All right, Zink has got a 50-50 here. Should protect if Spreak attacks. Should have attacked if Spreak DD'd. Does not get the 50-50. I mean, it's 50-50. Like, what are you going to do? Claydol is here to die. Armaldo is here. Probably also to die. Rock Slide should do a lot. Okay, it doesn't quite kill the Maldo. Okay, well, GG. It's over. I hate that, actually. I would have loved to see Zink have, like, more of a fighting chance versus less hacks there. Spreak is, how we say, lucky and bad. No, I'm kidding. Please retain me, Spreak. But yeah, I mean, this is basically over. Blissey taking an Ice Beam from the offensive Suicune. Lax going to get Seismic Toss. Lax could probably just boom. Yep. Alright, last Mon, Blissey, and Pert. Pert's gonna Endeavor. Zink is going to Soft Boiled. Probably see another Endeavor. Yep. You want to force Zink to go for all these Soft Boileds so that you have a better chance of landing a Toxic here. Does land it anyway. Even if Spreak missed, he would have had one more shot to get that Toxic off. And now Endeavor is going to just win the game. Aromatherapy, but you're going to have to dodge a pump. You don't dodge the pump. And that's it. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know if you the chat was not as sportsmanlike as I would have thought, but I mean, you know, when there's that level of luck involved, I guess I kind of understand it. I still say GG there personally, but all right. Well done to Spreek though. That's my captain, and you are going to win this tournament. I'm just saying it right now. I'm putting the money on Spreek. Bet the house, bet the rent, put the retirement fund on it. Spreek winning it all. Congratulations to all the winners in this one, and to all the losers still in the tournament. We'll see you in top 12 regardless. So congratulations for even making it that far. I didn't make it that well. I didn't even sign up for the tournament, so some would say I was out in round 0, which is not even possible in a double elimination tour. So once again, well done. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time, probably for the jump left video. So stay tuned for that.